Hello, and welcome to Calm and Cozy Stories, a place where everyone can find calm and enchantment beneath the soft glow of the moon, right before drifting off to sleep. Tonight, we invite you on another journey through a captivating story, one that helps cultivate a sense of peace and relaxation. Before we begin, let's take a moment to gently prepare our bodies and minds for a soothing, restorative rest. Make yourself comfortable, and with each slow inhale and long exhale, allow the cares of the day to gradually slip away. It's not always simple to detach from the day's busyness, especially when bedtime approaches. But keep in mind, the less we worry about falling asleep, the easier it is for the mind to release tension. Let the steady rhythm of your breathing carry off any remaining worries, and let the story you're about to hear guide you into deep relaxation. Now, settle in and allow the moonlit atmosphere to softly embrace you. Enjoy this story, and may you drift into peaceful, restful slumber here on Calm and Cozy Stories. Before you rests a cottage the color of ripe mango, swallowed almost whole by exuberant greenery. A thread of cobbled stone weaves a path to its simple wooden door. The sun, a benevolent weight, presses down, striking sparks from the broad, slick leaves of nearby palms. Here, the air itself is thick, saturated with the mingling perfumes of ripening fruit, damp earth, and unseen blossoms. Your bare feet surrender to the cool plushness of the grass, as your eyes drink in the bursts of orange and fuchsia blooms, inhaling deeply the layered fragrance, floral notes tangled with sharp citrus. From the sun-washed house, a figure emerges, radiating warmth. Sandals slap softly against her heels. She wears practical shorts and a loose, long-sleeved shirt, unbuttoned over another layer. A smile lights her face. She introduces herself, Alma, your guide for this afternoon's journey into the world of cacao. With an inviting gesture, she ushers you toward the doorway. You leave your own sandals beside hers, stepping onto the cool floor within. Inside, your gaze settles on a square wooden table dominating the room's center. Upon it, small bowls are arranged like offerings, holding the dark jewels of cacao beans, the fine dust of cacao powder, and neat squares of finished chocolate. Shelves climb the walls, laden with bars of chocolate and tins of herbal infusions. A compact kitchen occupies one corner, its stove awaiting its role, Alma mentions, in the roasting yet to come. Beyond the main table, a smaller room gleams behind glass panels, revealing a stainless steel workspace and the imposing form of a large melting pot. You both take seats at the central wooden table. Alma begins to speak, her voice weaving a tale of her family, 3 generations rooted in this very soil, cultivating cacao. She speaks of its reverence among the indigenous peoples, a fruit deeply entwined with their history, the beans once serving as currency, the heart of sacred ceremonies that persist even today. She slides the bowl of whole beans towards you. You lift one. Its surface is smooth, cool against your palm, releasing an earthy aroma. Tentatively, you bite down. A profound bitterness floods your senses, complex and strangely satisfying. Next, you scoop up a pinch of the ground nibs, feeling their rough texture between your fingertips before tasting their grainy presence on your tongue. Finally, a square of chocolate, already softening slightly in the ambient warmth. You place it on your tongue quickly, letting it dissolve rather than melt in the air. A wave of flavor, rich and deeply sweet, washes from the tip of your tongue, coating your cheeks, sliding down your throat. Exquisite. A buoyant energy rises within you, born of the chocolate's lingering taste and the anticipation of uncovering its creation. Alma nods knowingly. Chocolate, she explains, offers an energy akin to coffee, yet smoother, steadier, potent, but calming. The plant's deeper health virtues, she promises, will be revealed soon. Rising, Alma leads you back towards the door, beckoning you outside to explore the grounds. You slide your feet back into your shoes, re-emerging into the sun-drenched air. Everywhere, shades of intense green are punctuated by flares of yellow, orange, pink. Following her down a gentle incline beside the house, it seems every patch of earth yields something nourishing. Alma stoops, pulling a green-topped plant from the soil to reveal a knobbly, bulbous root. It resembles ginger, yet when she slices it open with a small knife, the flesh glows a startling, vivid orange. She passes it to you. The skin feels rough, textured against your palm. Rolling the root between your fingers, you lift it to your nose. The sharp, spicy scent of turmeric fills the air. Handing it back, you notice a faint saffron stain blooming on your skin. Your path takes you next towards a papaya tree, the earth soft and yielding beneath your steps. Its pale trunk ascends to a crown of long, slender leaves that flutter in the slight breeze. Just below this canopy, like clustered jewels, hang oval green papayas, clinging close to the trunk. As you meander further with Alma through this edible landscape, you pass a broad-limbed lemon tree, a passion fruit vine draped with plump purple orbs, and a spiky fortress of aloe plants. A dirt track leads you gently uphill. Here stand shorter trees, bearing what look like enormous, ridged lemons and limes. This, Alma reveals, is the cacao tree. The fruits, oblong and shaded yellow or green, are the cacao pods. She reaches up, twists a yellow pod from its branch, and places it in your hands. It possesses a surprising weight, its skin waxy and dimpled. Together you gather several more, cradling them as you follow the shaded path back towards the yellow house. Inside, the air feels cool, stirred by the lazy rotation of an overhead fan. The time has come to begin the transformation. Alma arranges the harvested pods on the counter. With a decisive slice, she opens one, revealing a cluster of beans encased in fleshy, white pulp. She encourages you to taste a single bean, cautioning you not to bite through. You place the white fruit in your mouth. It yields instantly, melting on your tongue with a surprising sweetness, its texture reminiscent of lychee. Carefully, You suck the pulp away, avoiding the bean nestled within. Removing the seed, you hold a raw cacao bean. You risk a tiny nibble. It's unexpectedly soft, intensely bitter, a world away from the chocolate it will become. Trying one from a yellow pod reveals a slightly sweeter pulp, the color indicating ripeness. These beans, still cloaked in their white fruit, Alma explains, are destined for fermentation, spread out under the sun for a week. During this time, the beans absorb the pulp's sweetness, developing the foundational flavors of chocolate. Alma then produces a bowl of beans that have already undergone this crucial process, allowing you to continue the journey. She twists a knob, and blue flames blossom beneath the gas stove. A large frying pan is set upon the heat. You pour the fermented beans into the pan. Immediately, the air begins to bloom with the nascent aroma of chocolate as they begin to dry roast. You stir them constantly, listening to their dry whisper and gentle clatter against the hot metal. After several minutes, the pan is removed from the heat, the beans tipped onto a plate to cool slightly. You pick one up, feeling its residual warmth, then bite. The shell offers a satisfying crunch, releasing a wave of warm, toasted cocoa flavor. Slowly, you savor the entire bean, marveling at the stark contrast to the raw bitterness experienced earlier. Once the tasting is complete, you roast a larger batch, pouring the finished beans into a bigger bowl. Then, you and Alma walk past the glass-walled chocolate room and out the back door onto a wooden deck. Before you stand 2 hand-crank grinders, awaiting the roasted beans. Beyond the deck, on the grass, a long table is covered with trays, lined with broad, flat banana leaves. On these leaves lie more cacao beans, glistening slightly, undergoing their sun-drenched fermentation. Back on the deck, you pour the roasted beans into the hopper of the first grinder. Turning the metal handle, you feel the resistance as the machine begins its work, breaking the whole beans into smaller, irregular pieces, the cacao nibs. You watch them tumble into the collection tray below. The very act of grinding releases a more intense chocolate fragrance, stirring faint, pleasant memories of childhood treats. Scooping up a handful of warm nibs, you inhale deeply before letting them cascade through your fingers. You feed the remaining beans into the grinder, turning the wheel rhythmically. The lush backdrop of tropical plants, a soothing panorama to your labor. When all the beans are coarsely ground, Alma demonstrates the next step, winnowing. She shows you how to toss the nibs gently in your hands, letting the breeze catch the lighter fragments of shell, while the heavier, precious nibs fall back into the tray. You try it yourself, feeling the satisfying weight of the cacao falling through your fingers as the papery shells drift away, fluttering down to join the thick carpet of discarded husks, already covering the earth around the grinding station. The air here is thick with the scent of chocolate. Nearby, the soft hooting of unseen birds drifts through the trees, and a light breeze cools your face. Every element of the afternoon feels utterly right, a deep sensory pleasure, and the final chocolate hasn't even been tasted yet. Suddenly, a flash of brilliant color streaks the air as a scarlet macaw settles in the branches of the nearby papaya tree. You pause, watching it preen, admiring its vibrant plumage, listening for a moment to its exotic call. Costa Rica, a sanctuary of biodiversity. The fruits tasted, the creatures seen and heard, all testament to the country's staggering natural beauty. With the nibs sifted clean, you carry the tray to the second grinder. This machine will reduce the nibs to a much finer consistency. Round and round you turn the handle, watching the coarse chunks transform into a dark powder. With each rotation, the cocoa aroma intensifies, evoking cozy memories of hot chocolate on cold days. The gentle breeze continues its caress as you work. An iguana, ancient and unhurried, ambles across the lawn, utterly indifferent to the delicious alchemy taking place nearby. Once the grinding is complete, Alma offers you a glass of cool water. You take a grateful sip, wiping a bead of sweat from your brow. Chocolate making, you realize, is labor born of love, demanding yet deeply rewarding. Resting for a moment, you breathe deeply, noticing how the rich chocolate scent now marries with the floral perfumes drifting from the garden, an intoxicating blend. Water finished, you carry the tray of fine cacao powder back inside, entering the glass-paneled chocolate-making chamber. It's a compact space, noticeably more modern than the rest of the house. The air here is cooler. Through the glass walls, you can see both the vibrant garden outside and the main room where the final tasting awaits. On the gleaming stainless steel counter sits an open-topped metal machine, something like a robust blender. You pour the powder into its bowl. Alma flicks a switch, and the machine whirs to life. The powder spins, faster and faster, becoming finer still. What were discernible grounds resolve into a uniform, velvety powder, perfect for hot cocoa. Then, astonishingly, the powder begins to liquefy. Alma explains this magic. The friction and heat generated by the blending process release the natural cacao butter within the beans, transforming the solid grounds into a flowing liquid chocolate. You watch, mesmerized, as the bowl fills with a smooth, glossy, dark liquid. Alma hands you a small wooden stick. Dip it in, she encourages. The mixture is thick, clinging voluptuously to the wood as you lift it. You taste pure, unadulterated liquid cacao. It's incredibly rich, intensely chocolatey, with a surprising creaminess. It seems impossible that no milk, no sugar has been added. While you continue to savor this elemental flavor, Alma slips out of the room, returning with several glass jars filled with colorful dried fruits. One holds the spiky green skins of guanabana. Another contains the tiny dark seeds of passion fruit. A third jar reveals the dramatic white flesh and magenta skin of dried dragon fruit. And the last holds dried maragnon, the small reddish-orange cashew apples, bursting with vitamin C. You take a moment, considering the potential pairings. Lifting the lids releases distinct fragrances. Sweet, sharply citrusy, subtly tart. You inhale each one. Your choice settles on the passion fruit. Alma takes the dried seeds and grinds them into a fine powder. Then, she pours the liquid chocolate directly onto the cool steel counter. It spreads outwards from the initial pool, forming a perfect, glistening circle. Alma sprinkles the golden passion fruit powder over the surface. The tangy scent of the fruit immediately mingles with the deep cocoa aroma, filling the small room. She hands you a short, wide metal spatula. You begin to fold the powder into the chocolate, the spatula moving smoothly through the soft, creamy mass. Once thoroughly combined, you carefully guide the mixture into a silicone tray molded with heart shapes. Elma takes the tray and places it in a nearby freezer. You lick the remaining chocolate from the spatula. The passion fruit's bright tang, part sweet, part sour, cuts beautifully through the rich, slightly bitter creaminess of the cacao. Perfect harmony. You carry the mixing bowl back out to the main room and sit again at the wooden table. Alma joins you, and together, using wooden sticks, you scrape the residual chocolate from the sides of the bowl, savoring every last bit. The unique, evolving flavor of the cacao at each stage of its transformation is astounding. You understand completely why it was once deemed food for the gods. And being such a revered substance, not a drop should be wasted. Alma smiles, sharing the simple intimacy of the moment, and begins to tell you more about the benefits of eating chocolate in its purer forms, its power to energize, to soothe stress, even potential boons for cardiovascular health. She speaks, too, of the other plants thriving on her land, many possessing medicinal properties known for generations, aiding digestion, bolstering immunity, enhancing well-being. Seeing the contented grin spreading across your own face, fueled by raw chocolate. These claims feel entirely plausible. You chat easily as you wait for the chocolates to set, becoming more attuned to the house itself. The subtle creaks and whispers of the wood settling around you. In what feels like mere moments, the chocolate is ready. Alma retrieves the tray, popping the firm, heart-shaped chocolates onto a small plate. You pick one up. It feels cool and solid in your hand. But warmth begins to bloom on its surface from your touch, so you quickly place it in your mouth. You resist the urge to chew immediately, letting it rest on your tongue, allowing it to slowly melt. The flavors intensify in solid form, becoming even more profound. You mention this to Alma, who nods, adding that mixing the pure liquid chocolate with warm milk creates an unparalleled hot cocoa. Taking slow bites now, the taste explodes, the foundational bitterness of the cacao balanced by its inherent creaminess, punctuated by the bright, sweet tart sparks of passion fruit. The delight is amplified by the knowledge that every ingredient originated right here, nurtured by this soil, this sun, and the fact that your own hands played a part in its creation adds a deep layer of satisfaction. While you eat, Alma brews a pot of herbal tea. Guanabana, she tells you, also grown here. A potent antioxidant, traditionally used to treat ailments long before modern pharmaceuticals, and still valued today. The tea arrives, pale and fragrant. It tastes smooth, subtly bittersweet. A perfect counterpoint to the rich chocolate. As you sip the comforting tea and finish the last of the heart-shaped chocolates, laughter and stories flow easily between you and your guide. Alma shares fragments of her childhood woven into the fabric of the Costa Rican rainforest, her inheritance of chocolate-making knowledge. You, in turn, offer glimpses of your own life, your own favorite comforts from home. Outside, the light begins to soften. The sun is dipping towards the horizon. When the final piece of chocolate dissolves on your tongue, a slow smile spreads across your face, a response to the purely soothing taste. You savor it consciously, letting it melt, then chewing slowly, feeling the flavor permeate not just your mouth, but seemingly your entire being. Heavenly. Still smiling, you carry your mug of tea outside. The warmth of the ceramic seeps into your hands as you step back into the rich soundscape of Costa Rica. Somewhere in the darkening green, the guttural calls of howler monkeys echo as they navigate the canopy. A pair of vividly colored birds settles nearby, their distinct songs weaving into the evening air as the last rays of sunlight glance off leaves of myriad shapes. The tea's gentle warmth spreads through you, inducing a profound sense of relaxation, of being perfectly situated in this enchanted place. The setting sun bathes everything in a wash of rose and gold. The earth where the turmeric grew, the silhouettes of the papaya and lemon trees. A wave of gratitude washes over you for the chance to witness this beauty, and especially for the taste of real chocolate born of this land and your own efforts. Surrendering to the moment, letting the sounds, the scents, the lingering taste, and the fading light envelop you, a deeper calm descends. You feel utterly peaceful, ready, perhaps, to simply curl up and drift to sleep, cradled by the murmuring lullaby of the Costa Rican rainforest night. Consciousness returns languidly, heralded by the soft percussion of rain against the window pane, a sound profoundly soothing. You linger in that liminal space between sleep and wakefulness, eyes shut, savoring the sensation. Warmth envelops the air, yet a cool current, a gift from the electric fan oscillating towards your bed, caresses your skin, maintaining a perfect equilibrium. A yawn escapes as eyelids flutter open, adjusting to the nascent morning glow. Outside, dawn breaks, painting the sky in tentative hues. Visible through the slight parting in the curtains you'd left the night before, their fabric now dancing in the fan's breeze. Nestled in comfort, your thoughts drift back, retracing the journey. Airborne, you had soared towards this destination, the resplendent Philippines, an archipelago boasting over 7,000 islands. Yesterday marked your arrival in Manila, the sprawling capital. Navigating from the airport proved unexpectedly seamless, guided by precise instructions from the arranged driver. "Find waiting area number 5, the message dictated. Stepping through the sliding glass doors, the city's embrace was immediate. A tangible heat, thick with the unmistakable perfume of holiday humidity. Evening had already fallen. Even here, amidst urbanity, palm trees reached skyward, igniting a thrill deep within. and adventure truly commenced. Gratitude washed over you for the privilege of traversing the globe, witnessing its myriad facets. Pausing to inhale the novel scents, you then proceeded, suitcase wheels whispering against the pavement, seeking Area 5. It materialized without difficulty. Along the way, a tapestry of airport life unfolded. Families locked in tearful reunions, fellow tourists squinting at phones, hoping for a signal, drivers of taxis and tricycles scanning the crowd for fares. There he was, Matteo, holding aloft a card bearing your name. His greeting was effusive, a warm welcome to his homeland. He relieved you of your luggage, stowing it in the car's boot before gesturing towards the passenger seat, which you gladly accepted. As the car pulled away from the terminal, easing into the flow of traffic, conversation sparked, touching upon the Philippine wonders you yearned to explore. On the bustling expressway, countless tricycles zipped past, motorcycles ingeniously fitted with roofed sidecars, capable of ferrying couples or entire families. Matteo then pointed out one of the iconic jeepneys. These vibrant vehicles, repurposed military trucks from a bygone war era, now served as public chariots, each uniquely adorned by its driver, with bold colors and diverse themes, bearing individual names. Last night, you'd glimpsed Guadalupe, emblazoned with Marian imagery, and Sonic, showcasing characters from the classic video game. Their rear entrances remained perpetually open, inviting passengers to hop on and off with fluid ease. Exiting the highway, the route shifted to quieter lanes, meandering into a residential enclave. Here, life spilled outwards. Houses overflowed with verdant plants and trees, erupting from every conceivable space. Rows of potted flora stood sentinel beside blossoming trees. A riot of color that coaxed a smile. A testament to the care lavished upon these neighborhoods. The residents, it was clear, actively cultivated beauty and community. Finally, you reached your sanctuary for the next 2 nights. A house on a tranquil street, as colorful and meticulously kept as its neighbors. Emerging from the car's air-conditioned cocoon, the heat wrapped around you once more. A close, humid embrace that felt almost cleansing. You surveyed the street. A few doors down, a family gathered on their stoop, sharing drinks and conversation, while children's laughter echoed nearby. Matteo rapped on the door of your lodging. An older woman appeared, Tita Luz. Tita, you recalled, meant auntie in Tagalog, one of the Philippines' primary languages, commonly interwoven with English in Manila. Sensing your travel fatigue, Tita Luz ushered you inside with gentle warmth, leading you directly to your room. It housed an enormous bed, a private ensuite, and windows overlooking the street below. Sleep beckoned irresistibly. After a brief tour of the facilities, Tita Luz bid you good night, leaving you to solitary repose. This morning, sprawled across the vast mattress in the dawn's gentle illumination, the memory of falling asleep is utterly absent. Exhaustion must have claimed you swiftly. But now, stretching luxuriously, limbs extending across the cool sheets, you feel revitalized, infused with anticipation for the day ahead. In the bathroom, you encounter the tabo, a traditional bathing implement comprising a large pail of water and a dipper. Scooping water from the pail, you splash it over yourself. It's cool, instantly invigorating, chasing away the last vestiges of sleep and tempering the ambient warmth. Dressed, you descend the stairs to find Tita Luz has prepared breakfast. Pandesal, delectable Filipino bread rolls, sit alongside perfectly cooked eggs. She demonstrates tearing open a roll to tuck the fried egg inside. The first bite confirms its anticipated deliciousness. Tita Luz then pours a cup of fragrant, sweet coffee. You offer profuse thanks. A perfect morning, indeed. Tita Luz opens the wide front doors, creating an indoor-outdoor ambiance, shaded yet connected to the world beyond. The rain has ceased. Sunshine now streams from a virtually cloudless sky. From this vantage point, you observe the city stirring to life. Tricycles hum past, their drivers offering friendly waves. Women, young and old, diligently sweep the pavement before their homes. Street vendors ambulate, their calls melodic advertisements for eggs, vegetables, ice cream. One vendor hawks taho, a warm, sweet concoction of silken tofu and syrup. At Tita Luz's encouragement, you approach him. For 8 pesos, he ladles the warm, custardy mixture into a small cup. He watches expectantly as you take a sip. The silken tofu glides down your throat, a unique and utterly delightful flavor profile unlike anything tasted before. You thank the vendor, whose face beams with pleasure at your approval. You watch him continue down the street, his cry of Tahoe echoing through the neighborhood. Breakfast concluded, the urge to explore Manila takes hold. Waving farewell to Tita Luz, you set off, following the Tahoe vendor's path. Along the way, residents pause their activities to greet you, inquiring about your origins, generously offering suggestions. The world's oldest Chinatown, a nearby vintage market, numerous exquisite churches, perhaps a jeepney ride to a major museum. An excellent plan begins to form. Kind strangers direct you to the appropriate jeepney stop. Soon, a brightly painted vehicle approaches. The museum's name displayed prominently on a card in the windscreen. You extend your hand. The driver pulls over smoothly. Climbing through the open rear, you find passengers readily shifting along the parallel benches that line the interior, making space. You count out the fare and pass it to the person beside you. The coins travel hand to hand towards the driver at the front. The jeepney navigates bustling streets teeming with markets, shops, stalls, and a constant stream of humanity. So much to absorb. The journey feels fleeting, ending abruptly as the jeepney halts directly outside the museum. You disembark. The edifice looms large and white, its expansive doors framed by classical columns. Stepping inside is like entering a sanctuary of cool, conditioned air. Various sections beckon. But today, the Museum of Fine Arts captures your interest. Its scale is immense, housing some 30 galleries filled with works by 19th century Filipino masters, alongside creations by contemporary painters, sculptors, and printmakers. Here resides some of the most arresting art you've ever encountered. You pause before a particular painting, absorbing its colors, deciphering the narrative woven into the pigment. It's a large-scale piece, dense with detail, chronicling life in the Philippine provinces. Families, laborers, animals, daily activities, local sports. The style evokes echoes of Cubism, perhaps. Predominantly blues and greens dominate, punctuated by vibrant splashes of red. It's rich, dynamic. The longer you gaze, the more intricacies reveal themselves. Hours could dissolve simply contemplating this single canvas. Without conscious awareness, the entire day has slipped away within the museum's vast embrace, steeping you in profound layers of culture and history. It feels almost like traversing the entire nation without leaving the city limits, though nothing compares to the immediacy of first-hand experience. The symphony of sounds and smells. The irreplaceable connection forged through meeting its people. You meander towards the exit, offering thanks to the gallery attendants as you pass. Emerging back into the daylight, you notice the air has softened, the sun hanging lower, casting long shadows. The city begins its gentle descent into evening. A short stroll to a nearby coffee shop seems appealing, a place to sit and watch the urban rhythm shift. You find a small establishment with an outdoor table. Settling in, a menu appears, listing coffees sourced from various provinces. You opt for one from Palawan, your next destination. When the waiter returns bearing a steaming cup of rich, aromatic coffee, you inquire about the tricycles. He confirms they are an essential Manila experience, but notes their limited range. You might need to alight near your destination and walk the final stretch. This sounds perfectly manageable. For now, contentment lies in simply sitting here. The evening air is balmy, each passing moment offering a fresh vignette. The Palawan coffee is exquisite. The waiter has also brought a small plate of hopia, petite, sweet pastries filled with a bean paste, his personal favorite snack. They complement the coffee beautifully. You thank him sincerely, shaking his hand before departing. He waves you off, wishing you a wonderful remainder of your trip. Walking down the street, a tricycle soon approaches. You flag it down. The driver pulls over obligingly. You provide Tita Luz's address. He nods, confirming he can drop you nearby, around the corner. He offers a choice, the sidecar or the seat behind him on the motorcycle. The sidecar beckons. It's compact, containing a single seat, open along one side. And then you're off, zipping through the streets. A delightful breeze rushes through the open sidecar. The tricycle proves nimbler than the jeepney, adeptly navigating tighter spaces and smaller lanes. Gradually, the surroundings become familiar. Recognition dawns. Last night, you'd noted a large white house on the corner before your turnoff, distinguished by windows with curved metal railings, plants cascading through them. There it is now. The driver slows, pulling to the curb. You carefully extricate yourself, mindful of the low roof. He confirms you know your way before speeding off into the twilight. Avian melodies begin to fill the air, the evening chorus of birds. Turning down the street marked by the White House, you walk. People seated outside their homes offer greetings. You recognize faces from the morning, the ones who shared sightseeing tips and jeepney directions. They inquire about your day. You recount the museum visit, your enjoyment, the discovery of cornucopia. Laughter ensues when they playfully suggest bringing some back next time. You join in, promising you will. Approaching Tita Luce's house, the aroma of something delicious cooking wafts out to meet you. The front doors stand open, inviting you in. A quick freshening up before dinner seems wise. Tita Luce calls a cheerful hello from the kitchen. You reply, you'll be down shortly. Sigsh, she responds. Go ahead. Or sure. Standing before the basin, you turn the tap, letting cool water run over your hands. Lathering the soap between your palms, you work up a froth, rinsing thoroughly. Leaning over, you splash cool water onto your face. An instant revitalization, the sensation welcome on your skin. Reaching for a soft towel hanging nearby, you gently pat your face dry. Much better. Descending the stairs once more, drawn by the enticing culinary scents, you find the table laden with a wonderful meal. A large bowl brimming with vegetables in a rich tomato-based sauce immediately captures your attention. Pinakbet, a popular dish, served alongside fluffy white rice. As you take a seat, Tita Luce emerges from the kitchen bearing the rice bowl. She offers it to you. You spoon a generous portion onto your plate, murmuring thanks. Next, you ladle the vibrant pinakset, allowing the sauce to mingle with the rice. Thank you. Your mouth waters in anticipation. Politely waiting for Tita Luce to serve herself, you prepare for the first taste, wanting to share the experience. Scooping rice, sauce, and vegetables onto your spoon, you finally indulge. Perfection. The vegetables are tender, yet retain their distinct textures. The rice light and airy. You recount your day to Tita Luce, describing the painting that resonated so deeply in the gallery. As you detail it, she nods knowingly. It's by her favorite painter, Vicente Manansala. When she asks your impression of Manila, you tell her truthfully. It's one of the most uniquely captivating places you've ever visited. Your appreciation pleases her. Pride in her country shines through. She shares that Manila has always been her home, though she's also spent time in Aurora Province, where family resides. She speaks of her 2 children, also Manila residents, and her 3 grandchildren. Her husband, she explains, spent his entire career as a captain on cargo ships. Rising, she retrieves a photograph of him in uniform, a man with a kind face, saluting the camera smartly. Tita Luce speaks of him with deep affection. Her pride as his wife is palpable. Before retirement, she recounts, he'd be away for 9 months at a stretch. The lengthy separations were initially challenging, but they adapted. Upon his return, he'd regale her with tales of his global voyages, always bearing gifts for her and the children. Currently, he's visiting friends in Aurora. Otherwise, he'd be here. It's a shame you didn't meet him this time, Tita Luce says wistfully. He is a lot of fun. Next time, you must visit us both. Share dinner. Smiling, you promise you will. A profound sense of safety and comfort envelops you here with Tita Luce. She possesses a natural gift for making guests feel utterly at home, genuinely cared for. It feels as though you've known her far longer than a single day. She then proudly displays pictures of her children and grandchildren, detailing their accomplishments. a wonderful grandmother, clearly. You tell her sincerely that her family is fortunate to have her. Soon, your eyelids grow heavy. Tita Luz gently suggests it's time for bed. Rest is needed before tomorrow's long journey to Palawan, a large island famed for its breathtaking beauty, located at the southwestern edge of the archipelago. Anticipation for its shores stirs within you. Upstairs, you open your room door. Switching on the fan sends ripples across the bed sheets. Slipping beneath the cool fabric, your head sinks into the pillow. Eyes closed, you listen to the fan's rhythmic oscillation, a gentle mechanical lullaby. The room temperature feels precisely right. Images summoned from booking the trip's surface in your mind. Azure waters, powdery white sands fringed by swaying palms in Palawan. Juxtaposed with these are the vibrant memories of this perfect Manila day. Conversations with locals, immersion in culture and art, navigating the city via jeepney and tricycle, savoring delicious, unfamiliar foods found nowhere else. As sleep begins to claim you, thoughts of sparkling oceans under clear blue skies fill your consciousness. It's as if Palawan is already embracing you. Gradually, you descend into a peaceful well of slumber and dreams. Warm sunshine,